Hello and welcome to Sporting Jibberish. I'm Jack Luffman.
Feels weird you doing it. I'm Stuart Boone.
You suggested it.
Right, just thought I'd just try it.
Just mix it up.
Every now and again you got to sleep on the other side of the bed, haven't you?
No, I can't do that, you know. I actually can't physically do that.
Yeah, my missus just doesn't work out what side of the bed she's at. She's got zero sense of direction. So we drive at a hotel and I'm like, I should really be sleeping on this side, but she just doesn't know, so I end up sleeping all over.
Oh, yeah, no, I have to be left-hand side.
No.
To the left, to the left.
It's just such a random way to start a programme.
Oh, yeah. Big lefty on the left.
Big lefty on
There
the
we go,
left.
yeah.
Even though we have Saturday on the right.
I know, but we stuck with that. And like Ant and Det, you have to have the same side when people are viewing.
Do you?
Told you that. If there's Ant and Det, always the same side when you watch them.
Anyway, lovers, what's on today's show?
I don't really know. What did we decide? Premier League, with a big focus on Man United, I think.
Yeah, Premier League. We're going to talk about Man United, about the current goings on. Obviously, they're just appointed today officially. So
yeah, I think that we'd already sort of. I've got one or two thoughts on the players even before the announcement. So yeah, big focus on them. Much as I kind of hate that. Boxing, big fight this weekend. I didn't see the press conference. You've seen the press conference.
Yeah, my little chat.
So have a little chat. Nothing going on in the cricket world really. I was half expecting some appointments or some more news, but nothing. So we can leave that. So we might as well start with.
Well, Fantasy Football Cup as well.
We
can't miss that out.
I wasn't
can't miss the Fantasy Football Cup out.
Fantasy Football Cup. Well, let's start with our sporting week. Stu, you had a big game last night against City.
Dubai FC.
Dubai FC. It was basically not winner takes all, but whoever won would prime position. Yeah. A bit like the old Man United, Man City, Liverpool game a fortnight ago.
Exactly the same as that. So if we lost it, they pretty much won it. If we won it, that puts it in our hands. But we ended up with the same as Man City, Liverpool.
But was it the same kind of game?
Well, I'd say. Well, I think on reflection, when we look back at it, it finished 0-0. They had.
That's the strange result in it in amateur football. It's like a schoolboy then, isn't it?
Well, I was looking at the Vets football, so I was looking at both teams have only conceded 19 goals so far this season. That's still more than one a game.
Yeah.
And they've got 60 goals, and I think we've got 40-something goals. So you're talking each team's probably averaging 2 or 3 goals a game. So to have a 0-0 is a surprise. I'd say we shaded the chances. We had definitely the better chances.
Come on, you give me enough stick over the time.
Well, yeah, I missed the penalty. Well, when I say I missed the penalty, it's not quite. It was bad, but not as bad as it seemed. So I went to take the penalty. As I was making my run up and my change in my direction as I was about to strike it, goalkeeper was going the wrong way. He could do it. He'd gone early, so he'd gone left, and I was going right. And as I went to hit the ball, my left foot just went from underneath me and slid alongside. I kicked the ball on from my right onto my left, looped over the bar, changed direction actually, went back towards where the goalie was diving, looped over the bar and went for a goal kick, and I was led on my back. And the frustrating thing is that I knew at the point of striking it I'd scored because the keeper had committed, and I knew it was on target. It was that intrinsic feeling of it's in, and I in my head I was already like, this is it. And then my left foot gave way. It was.
A la Beckham.
People say John Terry. It wasn't like John Terry's because John Terry hit the post, didn't he?
Yeah, he just slipped.
It was Beckham's. Mine hit my other foot and then looped over.
Where was Beckham? Was that in the
World Cup
in
Argentina?
Was it in the career? Was it 2002?
I can't remember because then he took the following season. He took the next competition, the next World Cup. He took the penalty against Argentina for the bottom corner, didn't he?
So it might have been 2002, and then that was 2006 in Germany.
Yeah, so very much same thing. That was a good chance. Second half, ball came over to me. I just literally let it bounce beyond me, and it came to tee it back post. And I screamed at him to take a touch, and he went to hit it first time, volleyed high and wide. And then we're talking literally the last second of the game. Ball's come to the new striker, Shane. I've come out wide right to get involved in the attack. T's used me as a dummy run, and then he's put the ball in. Ball's come to Shane. He's at front post. He's been hacked back left, right and centre from behind, stays on his feet, and then the angle's just really tight, keeper makes a save, it comes back to him. He then plays this great pass right across the 6-yard box, but nobody was there. I was outside T was just inside me, then there was Shade, no midfield runners, and the left winger was too far wide. It would have just been a tap-in. If anybody had just been there, it would have been a tap-in, but they had one shot from an angle. It was a hard game. It was a physical game. It was good high standard. Really good players on the pitch, you've got no time to breathe.
Yeah.
And I could say first time ever that the defenders played really well against me. I didn't get a great deal of support, but at the same time, they didn't give me an inch to breathe. They were right at the back of me at the right time, dropped off me at the right time. They kind of just managed me really well. And there was 2 balls that kind of went through, but I just couldn't quite get the end of it. It was one of them. At the end of the game, I was like, oh my God, am I getting to that point where it's even time to contemplate hanging up the boots?
No, it can't be.
It just felt like just that pace. Well, I've never blessed with pace, but they were just younger centre halves than me and just a lot quicker, and I just wasn't getting in the game.
Gaffer, I think you need to put him to centre half. Get him the ball playing midfield.
Don't want to say that. But yeah.
But it's as you are though, so you're still in the shout winning it.
Yeah, we've got a long shot. So top of the league, we've got 1 game left. They're on 40 points.
Right.
So they have to play second place, the Irish. Who Irish are still, because they beat the Turkish team last night, are still with a chance of winning it.
Okay.
But unfortunately for the Irish, they've got to play us next week. If we beat them, that rules them out of winning the league. Right. Which then they go and play top of the league. It would have been much better if it had been the other way around where Dubai FC had played Irish.
So you knew what you had.
And then it meant Irish would still then be know if they were in the hunt or not. And then we'd still know if we're in the hunt, because if Dubai FC beat Irish,
that's it.
It's Dubai FC's.
Right, okay.
And we're looking for runners up there.
So you need.
We need, if it's a draw, this is where it gets complicated. If it's a draw, we need like a big swing of like 15 goals.
Well, still in the hunt. Still
there and thereabouts. But yeah, and for you, there was a cricket match.
Yeah, Ramadan Cup.
And then also a little presentation evening tonight as well.
There is, yeah. So we had played Ramadan Cup on Wednesday evening, JMR Ramadan midweek tournament, which we won with a good win, which means we're in the semi-final of that next week, which is good. So they scored, we were playing Panthers and they got under 90 something off the 20 overs.
Listen, just tell us the score because I want to know the best bit.
And then we won.
We won. But what happened in the game?
Oh, mate. So we got off to a good start.
Yeah, no, we don't want to know about the starts and who scored.
Well, basically it was a man-cad.
We just won. Well, for people that don't understand, what's a man-cad?
So a man-cad is when you run the non-striker out before you bowl the ball, which is technically a legal dismissal.
So for people that don't even know that, it's basically running as if you're going to bowl. The batsman that's on the opposite side of the striker is going to start to run down the wicket, leaves the crease, and the ball, instead of bowling, subs the wickets. Yeah, it's a bit like, I suppose, that play in baseball where they can throw it to the base, can't they, rather than actually to the batter. So it is a legal dismissal, even now. But people have argued it's against the spirit of the game, etc. Usually, if a batter is trying to gain an advantage, the bowler, if he feels he would warn them, and then if he did it again, then probably run out. It is being changed in October to MCC have changed it to just a dismissal. Okay. Anyway, there was one of those with no warning. The lad, when you see the video, is encroaching, but not massively, not deliberate. I think he's just wandering around, to be perfectly honest. And then they didn't rescind it, and they were all up in arms, and it was that our lad didn't react particularly well to it, and then there ensued a bit of a confrontation, let's say, of about, well, I don't know, but what didn't help, I got out into the middle to try and calm our 2 batters down. That's never a good sign when big Jack's running. And and I've got hold of one of our lads saying, leave it alone like that, and the wicket keeper, their wicket, who was a tool all game, even when he was batting, he's doing this in front of him. Like this, he's out like this, and I just went, in a minute, if you carry on, I'll let go of my man, and you probably won't get home tonight, because old T was absolutely tamping. Now he's not very big, but he's built well, muscly, and he runs like the wind. He used to play rugby for the UAE and South Africa rep side, so there would have only been one winner. Anyway, we managed to calm him down, and off we went. But fortunately, the incident's on the camera, but the ensuing kind of 10 minutes or so of disagreement is not, which is a bit unfortunate because it was entertaining. So my question to you is, obviously you're supposed to warn them, but why should you? If he's trying to gain an advantage by doing that, he's putting himself at risk. And ultimately, and even Ash, who was IFL vice chairman, was there watching. He said he didn't have a problem with the actual dismissal. It was almost the
the way it was and the way it was handled thereafter that he.
I love the way you talk about the spirit of the game, and you're saying that he should have warned the batter in the spirit of the game. But flip that around, the batter is trying to sneak down the crease early. Is that the spirit of the game?
And that is why the laws have been changed.
I tell you what, Luffers is so rose-tinted glasses.
And that's why the laws have been changed. I don't like it at all. I do understand why they brought it in, particularly at the top level game, because it is a batter's game, that you watch the IPL and it's a batter's game. And for entertainment purposes, probably rightly so. And that's why they brought it in, from what you say. But I still don't particularly like it.
Yeah, batters union over there. Batters, wanderers union.
But at the end of the day, you're dead right, that batters, you can back or you can be ready to run without actually encroaching or stealing an advantage. So that's a good one. So another semi-final next week, which is really good. And and tonight we've got the big dinner and awards night, which fingers crossed goes all right.
What have you won?
Obviously I know I've won the Batting Award.
Way!
Because I've scored the most runs.
No way.
For the club.
You scored more than Clint?
Yep.
Did Clint miss half of the season?
We missed 3 games in the second half of the season. 699 I scored.
699. What did Clint get? 698.
No, not far off. I don't actually know how many he got, to be fair. You can have a look tonight because the stats will be there.
I was going to say, how would you not know if you count them all? You just count yourself in this way.
Guess who's done it?
I got nearly 700.
No, guess who's their stats man?
Statman there?
Shrek.
Oh, well, I'll be recount then. Shrek can't count. He's only got 10 fingers and 10 toes.
Isn't that how many you 12?
He's probably saying right now. Well, you are from Woodhall, it could be 11.
Yeah. No, Woodhall's a posh bit. Boston's the one where we might have to count toes.
Okay.
Oh
yeah, it sounds dubious.
No.
Sending all your stats back to
they're all off the website. I don't send them. I don't alter them, honestly.
Who got the most golden ducks? Was it called the diamond duck? What's it called if it's first ball?
First ball at diamond, yeah. I got one of them.
Do you get an award for that?
No.
Oh my goodness. Did anybody else get one of them?
No.
So, you won 2 awards. The Diamond Duck Award.
I haven't.
I'm quacking when you get off your award.
Yeah, because you've been invited as a sponsor.
I have put no money into it. I will contribute next season, Jan. I promise.
So, Sporting Jibberish have
Sporting Jibberish
back to collaborators.
Okay. Right, so aside from that, looking good, but we're going to move on to Premier League.
Yeah. Terrible weekend for
I tell you what. You know, they say, don't they, football has lots of twists and turns. It seems like there is no twists and turns for the top 2. Everybody else is just kind of just getting all their luck at the moment, aren't they?
Because you know what I actually thought, and I know I spoke to you about, after the weekend, Spurs losing, then Arsenal losing, and then Man United losing, and then Arsenal beating Chelsea, I had a look at the table. Chelsea aren't guaranteed third, now. If and this is a big if. Yeah, they have, but it's a big if, because their form's patchy, but if Arsenal or Spurs, maybe even Man United, go stay unbeaten for the rest of the season, I think they'll finish third.
Scary thought. But yeah, we sat here last week saying Spurs' front three's kicked in, that's it, they're going to go on and get 4th, and then you don't score against Brighton.
They were just terrible. It was terrible. And do you know what?
It wasn't a particularly good game to watch.
I actually had me and Renal, obviously the Arsenal fan who we mentioned, we've had a good conversations, and we agreed that actually it was a poor game, and I don't buy into how great Brighton are, because they pass the football, but it's probably like watching the vets train in football, go crossways, they don't do anything with it. They've got no goal scorer. He's not prepared to play. When he signed Welbeck 2 years ago, he should have just played him. He was the closest they were going to get to a goal scorer. And actually, they do set up not to lose, not to concede, just as like Dyche's Burnley would, just a different style. And they weren't any good. Spurs were just absolutely woeful. To a man.
Still managed to get the winner though, didn't they?
Yeah,
was it Trossard in the 84th minute?
Yeah. It was a good finish. Spurs were a little bit unlucky because what's his face? Romero had cut it out and then slipped over and then inadvertently passed it to him.
But Dyer just overcommitted.
No, I don't think he committed enough personally.
I thought he did not commit left and
he
went one way and the guy went
anyway, it was poor. It was a little bit looking then poor, but and then it was just there's not a lot more, so just rubbish.
So at that point you swing the door wide open for Arsenal. Arsenal then go and lose at home away to Southampton, which Southampton are that type of team.
Yeah. We did say that last week, I think.
That could go and turn around and win 3 games in a row, at the same time could go and lose. United, having gone 2-0 at home to Norwich, thinking he could have been on for a bagful, found themselves 2-2 up until Ronaldo hits a free kick towards the end of the game to win 3-2, which they celebrated like they'd won the World Cup. Yeah. And I remember they gave a stick about drawing with West Brom at home. Well, that was just as bad.
That was a turning point, wasn't it, for Klopp's Liverpool?
It wasn't so much that we were celebrating the draw at West Brom, it was celebrating the support. And I think what was key to that is the bigger picture thing was getting the fans on side.
Yeah. I actually, my mate in my uni group who's Liverpool fans was on about that only this week, saying that was, he felt as a Liverpool fan, that was a turning point on the Klopp.
And then Watford lose at home, which signs to Brentford. Sunday came along and we saw Newcastle beat Leicester. I predicted that 2-1. Guimaraes with a goal and assist. And West Ham drew 1-1 with Burnley with their makeshift manager, who is Jackson, who used to be...
do you know him?
Not know him, but I know him.
Is that like out, but not out?
No, it's one of them that, you know, when you if you saw him, you'd probably say hello, but you don't and have a chat. But yeah, he was at North End when I was working for North End. He was their centre half. It's a story about him and one of the other players' wives at the time.
Let's not go there.
Which caused a few ruckus.
What made me laugh in that is Ben Mee in his tracksuit, he's obviously injured, the club captain giving out orders. It's like watching non-league football.
Well, you've got Jacko that's gone in there, which makes you laugh. Is that Burnley fans are like, oh yeah, great result at West Ham. It was. You've got Preston North End getting in charge. That's a massive rivalry.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I know it's not. But then they had a jump a few.
We'll get to them. We'll go in order. So yeah, that's a great result for them to pick up a point. West Ham will then be sitting there going, kicking themselves, having seen Spurs lose and Arsenal lose. That would have been their outside chance.
The reason West Ham are struggling a little bit, they're having a great win in Europe, and they've just got no firepower in the Premier League.
Well, I think that it's leggy, isn't it? It's that overhang of going to France, working hard, getting a great result, and
they have to play. He can't really rotate.
There is no rotation there. You think that he's got no centre back rotation, and like I'm saying is that you're not a big fan of Dawes.
I mean, he does a job, doesn't he?
He does a job, but he's not out and out. And then your best players are your Rice, your Bowen, Antonio.
But you see Antonio.
You've got a few like Benrahma, Lanzini that can switch in now, but I think your mainstay is you're keeping the same 8 guys on every game.
And Antonio is just, because he's not a natural goal scorer, he's an absolute handful, and he's one of those strikers that will go through a purple patch of scoring 7 in 5 games, and you just hope that you're not one of the teams. Because other than that, I think you still get a good turnout from it.
Yeah,
you just don't get it for the goal,
doesn't he? But because his game's so much based on power and physique, that he's going to.
And I think that's why he does well in Europe, because defenders can't handle him, can they?
And then we saw the FA Cup semis at that weekend. I did say this on the podcast: is that I was happy that De Bruyne and Kyle Walker were missing. And I thought it gave us a chance, and we blew them away first half.
I did watch it.
City come back in it a little bit, and probably scoreline flattered to deceive. Salah's missed a handful and scored the second one with the last kick of the game practically to make it 3-2. But yeah, it was a big game. But it's one of them that, despite the money, why is City so reliant on Kevin De Bruyne? When you've got 100 million for Grealish, you've got Silva in there, you've got Fernandinho in there, you've got Rodri on the bench, you've got Sterling, you've got Mahrez. Jesus.
I mean, it's weird. It's going to sound weird to say this because they've been so successful, haven't they, under Pep, and they're likely probably going to win the league again this year. But I still wonder whether he rotates too much, and therefore, in answer to your question, the likes of those guys that you've just talked about, Foden, even Sterling to an extent, and Grealish, they don't play enough games to get into a rhythm. You think when Sterling, what was it, about 18 months ago, 2 years ago, was absolutely on fire because he was playing week in, week out from wide left. I don't know. I'm not a pro footballer, but my point is when De Bruyne is fit in any remotely big game, he plays, and he plays in the middle of the park. You know, maybe sometimes in a 10, but I don't know. Results would suggest that I'm talking absolute rubbish because they've won their X amount of Premier Leagues and stuff like that, but I don't know, and I do also think that, and obviously it looks like they're going to get Haaland.
I was going to say
that striker is an issue, and I've said it all season, and it still might end up with them not winning anything.
Yeah, I was going to say to you, right, so the Haaland thing is supposedly a done deal now.
Yeah.
Does Haaland suit City?
Well, we said that. Again, it was on my uni chat. The same question. The way they play at the minute, I don't think he does. Because he looked, from when, I know I haven't seen a great deal of him, but to me he looks like wants the ball in behind, wants crosses because he's big, powerful and strong and quick. So they're going to have to put more crosses into the box, I would have thought. But they don't really do that, do they?
But City
And
tend to
play it slow, possession.
Possession football, almost like ticky-tacky
Yeah.
stuff.
And that's where I suppose an older player, Lewandowski or Kane, probably suits them better because they'll get involved in the build-up and then spin off into the box. It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. He would suit Liverpool.
Yeah, I agree. I think the way Liverpool tackle with so much pace and power.
But what ideally it would be if they get him for 60 million and even on a 4-year contract at 25 million a year wages, under the 60 million over 4 years, there'll be add-ons. But that is a steal when you think that they'd probably have to pay 120 for Kane, Lewandowski still. So you're only going to get one contract out of them, aren't you?
Yeah. Aging. Right. So Chelsea then went to play Crystal Palace, won that game comfortably at a bit of a canter. So it's Liverpool versus Chelsea, 14th of May. It's also my wedding anniversary. So it's also Fogs's stag do.
You got on your wedding anniversary on the stag do?
Yep.
You've done very well there, my
Just
friend.
the way I roll.
Oh, yeah.
Told I was like, look, I'm on the stag do. You better not say anything else.
We're golfing that day as well, aren't we?
Yeah, golfing. Walker's bringing me his clubs, by the way, so you need to just Walker bring the clubs. He's playing with you on Friday. You play Friday?
Yeah, I'm playing both days.
I'm not playing Friday.
But you're coming Friday night?
I'm there Friday. I'll be popping the bar up by the time you're...
Caddy?
I'm not caddying.
Can I be more caddy?
There's a free bar. I'll go around a golf course while you're caddying.
Come on.
Anyway, so you just need to be clubbed up with you.
Uh-huh.
So Saturday is the FA Cup, which is a great
be.
result.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. And if Chelsea play anything the way they do at the moment, it should be 7-0 to Liverpool. Right, back onto the Premiership. Now, quickly cover the FA Cup. We then saw Tuesday night Liverpool host Manchester United. First half, and a bit deluded United fans, I believe. Liverpool should have been 4 at the time. Comfortably in charge of the game, without a shadow of doubt. United changed their system second half, granted. I did feel a bit sorry for Phil Jones, thrown into the fire pit there and just said, how best can you do? And after 20 minutes, he looked like he was blowing. It looked like he'd gone.
There was that corner, wasn't there?
Yeah, he was like... I was like, I felt really sorry for him because you don't play him and then to throw him in against potentially, not even like, wouldn't even say like the best, they're not even on form at the moment. Salah's not been particularly on form, but so much pace.
And when the Liverpool attack, it comes from all out areas, doesn't it? Like the Alamo.
Well, the funny thing was that second goal is Liverpool traditionally would be go wide, in, wide, deliver, score. That second goal was middle.
I think that second goal was the best goal I've seen for a long time. Team goal. When it was going on, when I was watching it, when they like injected a bit of pace in, I was about to text our good guy. I love the way they played. And as it kept going, I was like, my goodness, if this ends in a goal, this would be class. And then literally that ball's got dinked over.
I think the last 6 passes were one touch.
Yeah. It was class. But they did that all first half.
Yeah. And cut United through. It wasn't even going wide and cut United through. It was like Liverpool just suddenly opened up this new dimension and they can go through the middle.
Yeah.
And they did.
And Thiago's that's why.
Frightening. He's the last few games he's been just phenomenal.
I love his no-look pass.
But everything's disguised, isn't it?
Yeah.
It looks and it just shifts to a different direction. But yeah.
Brilliant.
And then United fans, we should have got back and get 2-1, which is a different story. We were back in the game. Like, you had 2 half chances. One really good chance where Rashford thought he was offside, hit it, Alisson makes a save. It then came out to Sancho, who shoots, keeper saves again. They flagged for offside, and it turns out it wasn't.
I didn't see the second half. So in the first half, if I was a Man United fan, I would have thrown the white towel and gone home.
Yeah, so it was at that point, 2-0, United had that chance, didn't score it. But if you're not as clinical as Liverpool are, then you're not going to stand a chance. And it was kind of 20 minutes, it dwindled a bit, and then the ball came to Mane, and he's produced a great finish to make it 3-0. Then it went 4-0, and then it could have gone 5 or 6 again. So I think United did well to come out with 4-0.
They're rubbish. We're going to talk about them in a minute.
We're going to go to them into more detail. I'll just quickly whiz through these other games that were Wednesday. So Liverpool went top of the Premiership for a whole 24 hours. City 0-0 at half-time at Brighton. Finished 3-0. Liverpool fans probably got a little bit excited at that point at half-time, but finished 3-0. Newcastle, Guimaraes assist.
2 wins in a week.
1-0 against Crystal Palace. Everton drew 1-1. How important that point might be.
Particularly with the result.
I would think, though, that Everton at home would want 3 points. It could have been pretty
good.
But
they're going to hold on just, I think, like I said.
Woeful
result, this. This is a woeful result.
It is for you guys, anyway. Chelsea just don't know what's going on at the moment.
And he blamed the pitch.
Rudiger's out, isn't he? So he missed the game. And I'm not saying that Rudiger would have made it that much of a difference, but Nketiah, 2 goals. First goals he scored all season as centre forward. And first goals in a year, I think. 2 goals helped Arsenal beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge 4-2, which you said last week, if I'm correct, that's Arsenal's game in hand. It won't matter. Chelsea will beat them. Oh, how that didn't turn out.
I also said the Spurs would. But like you said, how it changes, because technically, if you went to 4, Spurs get 3 points Saturday, Arsenal would get 3 points Saturday, and then lose on Wednesday night if he's happy. But as it is, we're still top on goal difference. Not top, 4th, sorry. But
4th.
Same. At the minute, it's going to come down to the. I mean, it is in our own hands, but it's both hands, isn't it?
Yeah.
If we win every game, we're through.
Well, we're going to have a little chat about the league table in a sec, but the other game was Burnley beating Southampton 2-0.
Great. What is? Yeah, I haven't seen it. That's a great result.
Jacko, in his first game as interim manager with Ben Mee and his one man and his dog.
They've got Bucket Sponge Man on the side as well.
Yeah. I've picked up 4 points out of possible 6.
I heard that after both games, we went to the Dog and Dog for a pint after.
Quite possibly. Yeah, we've got great pie and peas. And hairy ham sandwiches.
And not hot chocolate pudding. Black pudding.
Oh no, I think we're doing a hot pot, that proper Lancashire meal there. Right, so as it stands, let's have a look. We'll go as far down as 8th. Wolverhampton Wanderers played 32, so they've got a game in hand on 49 points. Probably a little bit too far for them to get top 4, but still with a big chance of Europe. West Ham having drawn that game, leaves them with 52 points, played 33, which probably just seals them out of that. United on 33 games on 54 points. But unfortunately, Arsenal and Spurs have both got a game in hand on United, are on both on 57. You're on there by plus 8 goals. But you're now only 5 points behind Chelsea. But Chelsea do have 1 game in hand on you guys, 2 games in hand on United. So it's a case of, realistically, we've got Chelsea got 7 games left. You've got 6 games left.
I think they'll finish
more
there.
wins.
Yeah, they'll finish there.
3-4 wins.
I think
should be all right.
from a Spurs point of view, I'd like to see Man United, because they'll all play before we play, because we play Saturday night.
Yeah.
So I think Man United, a draw, if somebody has to win, Man United, because although that would put them on the same points as was going into Saturday night, the goal difference is still important. We've got a game in hand on them. So, it is in Spurs' hands. At the end of the day, it's in Spurs' hands. If they win every game and draw with Arsenal, then we're in. Yeah, and actually, I think if you'd said to Spurs fan Conte with 6 games to go, 7 games to go, it's in your hands, you'd have snapped your hand off, wouldn't you?
So just so people are aware at home, the games that Arsenal United play Saturday lunchtime. City play Watford with the top of the table clash. Then the evening game, as Jack mentioned, is away to Brentford. It's not an easy place to go. And then the other games that involve the top areas: Chelsea, West Ham, Liverpool versus Everton, which is a bad news. And we'll just quickly cover the bottom end of the league, which is bad news for Everton, because as it stands, Norwich 21 points gone, Watford 22 points gone. Not mathematically, but I'm saying they're gone. Burnley 32 games played, 28 points. Everton 31 games played, 29 points. Leeds 32 games, 33 points. So they're not
completely.
And you look at their goal difference, minus 30.
I think Villa was safe. I think Leeds, if Burnley carry on this form, what a masterstroke that could be from the owners, by the way. But
well, I said this to a Burnley fan. I said, have they done this in the hope that will inject that new manager takeover where there's a quick turnaround?
Because if they win 3 games, that probably keeps them up.
Well, you look at Everton have got Liverpool at Anfield.
They have got a game in hand, Everton. Still.
Yeah, so that could easily end up with them losing the game. Burnley at home to Wolves, which is a winnable game. I know Wolves have been a little bit of our dark horse all season. That could be a winnable game. So Burnley could, in fact, leapfrog Everton before Everton go to Anfield to play Liverpool.
And that is pressure.
And then they lose that game, and then they still obviously got the game in hand. But
even a draw takes them above on goal difference. Like.
Yeah, they've been a.
I still think Everton will cling on, but only just.
Right. So I asked you about Manchester United. We're going to quickly cover because we've waffled on so much already. So United, how bad are they?
Well, I think that squad-wise, individual players, there's obviously talent there, isn't there? You can't doubt that. We've seen Pogba play for France, etc. Juve, blah blah blah. I just think, and I agree with Gary Neville, there's obviously something intrinsically wrong from the top down. It's a team of individuals. They're playing like that. Rekik Ralph's done absolutely nothing. I was a critic of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He did get him to finish second last year, in all fairness to him. Rekik Ralph's done nothing. I think that clearly Maguire has not had a great season for them, but I do think he's getting a little bit too much criticism. I've never been a huge Maguire fan. I think it was a lot of money they paid for him in the first place. He does well for England, to be fair, but I think he's getting a lot of undue criticism because it's a narrative, isn't it? I think there's a lot of people going, what's happened to Sancho, Rashford? They look devoid of confidence. And the two people I think who are a little bit snakes in that squad, Ronaldo's a massive one, forget him, are De Gea and Fernandes. Because I think they're the ones who come out and they both did it this week, we're not good enough, Come on, lads, have a look at yourself. I've never been a huge De Gea fan because the year that he won, or the 2 years he had great form and whatever, was when they were really poor. So he was probably making 15 saves a game. So that kind of papers over the mistakes he made. As they've got, I don't know if they're good this year, slightly better, so conceding less chances, he's still making the same mistakes. And Fernandes, again, he came in January, didn't he? Was it COVID year or the year before? So that first, up to the end of the year, great. Even probably half of last season. But I think for the last 18 months he's been absolutely woeful. All he wants to do is chuck his arms up, dive around. But you tell me again, if he's a leader of men and the player that he thinks he is, he should be getting a game around the scruff of the neck and leading his charges on. When did he ever do that? So I don't... In answer to your question, I think ability-wise, I don't think...
So if you were to place at the beginning of the season and say, right, this is where United's squad is, what position would they be? I thought they
would finish third or fourth. I thought they had the run on Spurs, Arsenal, and the rest of them.
So anybody else, if they finish outside of fourth, it's a bad season?
I think so.
Right, okay. So they've just appointed Ten Hag from Ajax, whose background is not actually as bad as it seems. So he's obviously done really well with Ajax and had a few seasons there. He was actually Bayern Munich's assistant manager. Yeah. So when people say he's got no big club experience, Bayern Munich first team and reserve team run as one unit. They play the same style of football. There's a lot of feeder players in there that work their way up. So he's been in and around. And the story is that he could be bringing McLaren back with him.
Yeah, I heard that.
So he's bringing a bit of Manchester back with him, so that he knows the Premiership, knows English footballers, knows the club through and through.
And I think McLaren is a good number two, isn't he?
He's a great coach.
Yeah.
Shocking manager, great coach. So
loves an umbrella.
Yeah. If you're Ten Hag, you're obviously looking at that squad. Who's the first? There's people he doesn't need to strip because they're already going. So Pogba's out the door. Yeah. Matic's out the door. They're the two probably high profile. Cavani will be another one.
Yeah. Matic will probably go, will he?
Well, they're three ones that are out of contract this year that are going to leave. So you are Ten Hag and you're looking at that squad now. Let's say you need to replace. Name your top three players you're going to replace. And Ten Hag.
Well, as in, I'm going to get rid of a player or top three areas I need to strengthen.
No, not strengthen. You're gonna because let's be honest. There's some bad seeds in that squad. Ten Hag's known for playing like a 4-3-3, like Liverpool, fast, direct attack. It's going to be quick football. You know that there's Ten Hag as coming in, so you've got to replace three players. Who would you replace? Or And even to the point, who would you replace him with?
I would replace Ronaldo with a younger striker.
Okay.
Because for two reasons. Forget about
Who
his
you go
squad. I don't know. I mean, can they get in the running for Haaland?
Well, the Haaland
It might be
deal's done. But I've heard a rumour this morning.
The Kane, they're talking about Kane, aren't they?
He's just picked up a bit of traction.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that depends what happens with Spurs. But yeah, I'd take the Spurs off. I'm getting rid of Ronaldo because of his age. I know he's still fit, but he's clearly not a team squad player. I don't see how. If you've got he's called the manager as well as he's not the coach. So he obviously wants, like he said, the Bayern Munich way that he's going to take control. I don't see how he takes control of everything with Ronaldo in the camp. Right, so I'm replacing him with a striker, okay, Kane, because I think you need to be somebody who's proven.
Right.
So he's going to and he's got to replace. I mean, I would replace a Fred or a McTominay. You know, your mainstay with centre midfield player with somebody creative. I don't know, like something like a Tillemans maybe, or there's probably others around the world.
Okay, Tillemans a good shout, yeah.
Even an Eriksen, because he looks like he's proven his fitness. I don't know. I'm just
okay. So we'll go with Tillemans.
But I think they need a midfield player to create, get up and down. Because McTominay and Fred do a job. They do a job.
Okay.
I don't think Hernandez can play in there. He needs to play as number 10, I think maybe.
Okay.
And they clearly need a centre half.
Did they?
Wow.
They've got Lindelof, who's not bad.
Yeah,
Maguire's not the worst.
Yeah, I mean,
and then they've got
the Varane. Yeah, so maybe you look for another white. I think that's the thing, actually. To improve that squad, you're looking at top players, aren't you? Which costs a lot of money.
Unless you're Liverpool, they won't find out these.
I think that's what you've got. I think they've got to do. I think he's got to improve the players who are there. He's got to start getting the best out of Sancho. He's got to get the best out of Rashford.
So where does Rashford fit in the team?
I've always said he's never a striker.
I think United are missing a right winger. I think you've got Sancho and Rashford that can go on the left, which was Martial, but he's coming back. He's in
So
I think a right winger. There's the young lad that's at Ajax now that's got a lot of potential. And we're talking about buying into potential is Anthony.
Yeah.
Really quick, lively play.
I also think if they're going to play the kind of football that they need a better right back in terms of going forward delivery, because Wan-Bissaka can defend. But you saw I don't know what position Ralph was trying to get into play against Liverpool. At one point it was like right forward, but he can't. All he is a defender. I mean, to me, he looks like, which is probably why he was so good at Palace, because it was a rigid 4-4-2, so he defended well. Or maybe he could play as a right-sided centre-half in a team that played as a 3.
I'd tell you what I'd go for striker, just a new one, is that Darwin at Benfica. Darwin Núñez. Really like the look of him. I'd go Anthony, because United, you're talking about going and buying the best players. I just don't know if they've got the welly.
I'll tell you who else would go for midfield player, thinking about Conor Gallagher. Because I tell you what, the Man United fans would love him.
Chelsea would be an idiot to get him.
Well, of course they would, but who knows with Chelsea? How many youngsters have they let go? Somebody like him or Loftus-Cheek, somebody who'll get around the pitch but's got some quality that Man United fans would love.
Okay, so you've just brought this new coach in. Yeah. Or you are the new coach. And let's be honest, United traditionally, and I've had a look at this, 3 signings per window.
Yeah.
Right, to overhaul that squad, you need more than 3 signings.
Yeah, you need 2 windows.
Do you think he needs 2 windows? Do you think he needs a bit more?
Probably longer.
And as a United coach, as you've taken over, how long do you think you should be given with a license to then say, right, because they've got to have an overall, let's be honest, and you're right, United are broken. They're not just broken on the pitch, they're broken off the pitch as well. Anything that they're going to do now as a business sense, they're in dire straits, because if they rotate managers so quickly, so anything they're buying in and investing, if they don't give the manager long enough to see if that investment goes through, you're just wasting money on good players, aren't you?
Yeah, I think if I'm the coach, I think I'm going, right, you need to forget Man City, because that's a different model, because they had the money. It's like it's a Man and Pep, so that's irrelevant. They're irrelevant. I think you go. They won't like it. You won't like it, Mr. Chairman, but you need to look at your biggest rivals down the road, Liverpool, and I think you need to give me. I need 5 years. Yeah, I need 5 years for me to get Man United back challenging on a consistent basis. I think that you might even see next year where they're a bit more competitive. They might get a cup run. They might, they end up in Europa League. They could go and win something like that. But I think if you're talking about the Man United that we grew up watching of the 90s, the early 2000s, the Ferguson era, if you want to get back up to that, I don't think any club will ever dominate like they did ever again, because I think there's so much more going around. But if you want me to start competing at the top end on a regular, consistent basis, where instead of a 2-horse race for the title, it's a 3-horse race, I think I need 5 years.
Okay, so 2 things there. Firstly, United fans, would they give you 5 years?
Some of them probably not, but I think my message to them would be, it's 10 years since Ferguson went. You've given no manager long enough, and we've got nowhere. Okay. So be patient.
Okay, right. So you've got the United fans on board, and the other one is next season. Would it be better for United, in obviously still this building season, to finish outside of Europe, to give himself a bit more time to focus on the league, to get his squad together, or do you think they need the distraction of European football?
I think as a club we need European football. I think as a club they need European football. If I'm going into acting mode, I think I take your point that it is a distraction, particularly that I don't really know why it makes a difference, but everybody says it makes a difference, the Thursday night comps. But I think Man United as a club, revenue-wise, to keep building momentum, thinking of signings, they need European football. And remember, like a Europa League, you win that, you get in the Champions League. With this new ridiculous UEFA thing, they might get a go in the Champions League anyway.
I don't think they will, but imagine Ronaldo next year, what would he do? Would he stay for United in the conference, the European conference?
I don't know.
Would he just refuse?
If I'm Ten Hag, I'm getting rid.
Okay, right. So there's Jack's overhaul of Manchester United. He's got a 5-year plan to get you back in the top 3.
I actually hope that it doesn't ever happen, and that they give him a year.
If this works based upon your advice, Spurs will give you a call.
I could do a worse job than other people, let me tell you.
Yeah. Right, we'll quickly finish with the fancy football. Obviously, fancy football
Do we
cup.
have to?
It was a great result because Booth made his way through again. Jack, how did you get on yours? What score did you get? Good at there?
50 points.
50 points, and who were you playing?
Ian Larkin.
And how many did Larkin get?
69.
Ooh.
Out the cup.
Oh, he's gone first. First proper round.
Yeah, gone.
You got a bye in the first round, and then you're out the next round.
Yeah, gone.
Also, on the receiving end of losses was Matthew Aldridge, who lost to Lisa Bateman, who got 102 points, and Matt got 55 points.
Oh, that's absolutely thrashing.
He's got hammered, and I'm just trying to look if we can see your old man down here. Kev Fields is through. Congratulations, Kev Fields. Can you see him? Oh, look at that. Sporting Jibberish, Stuart Booth, 70 points. Inshallah, FC Lewis Alexander.
Well, that is absolute spanking. 74-10.
Yeah, Club Foot has gone through, so well done, Matt Bean. Oh, Shrek has made it through, so Shrek's got further than you this time around.
Oh dear, man, we need to finish.
It's a bad do for you. So, the cup draw's not being done. Why is it not? Why is it still? Is it another game? It can't be another game, surely. We must have done them all. It's still showing us they're all active. Maybe it just needs updating.
Yeah, maybe updating.
Well, the weekly winner, Jacko, with 107
great points.
So that's a great result. Jacko's still in the cup, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's still top of the league as well now.
Yeah, smashing it. Oh, in league, talking about leagues, did I get a gift and a half?
You did.
So Nas gives me a call the other week. Nas, who used to work at Mira, at least play football at Mira, decided to. I don't think I can show you the picture on here. I don't think it will be clear enough. But he dropped a trophy off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make that trophy the picture for the publishing. And
can you put it in next to something that makes it
in
perspective? Like get better to stand next to something.
I think that's what we need to do. So Nas actually has his own company called Grand Casa Properties. So if you're after a property in Dubai, have a look at his website, have a look, see what's going on there. But I joke you not, if it was here now, it's probably about this big from the bottom of the screen. It's absolutely massive. So just take note of my size of my head. It's not a particularly big head, but I'll put my picture next to the trophy. It's huge. And actually engraved Sporting Jibberish, Fantasy Premier League winner, 2020.
It'll be the best trophy anybody's ever won.
Well, actually, I know Jacko will be the only trophy you've ever probably won in football, but well done you, mate. But yes, next week we're looking forward to the next cup draw, so exciting times. But at the end of the day, Jack,